Yeah. So again, we can start. Yes. So hello, everyone. So welcome to this edition of our Tech Talk series. So for today, we're going to cover how you can manage your database backup and recovery for your database cloud services. So I'm your host, Leo Alvarado, and for my co-host, so we have a special guest. And we are fortunate to have him today. So maybe some of you have heard from him from our part one of the Tech Talk last month, in which we cover enabling disaster recovery for your database cloud services. And I'm very thrilled to introduce our guest, Mr. Dilip Chagarajan. So he's a key member of our product management team who has worked on the some of the coolest features of database cloud services, so both for base database service and Exadata database service. So particularly on our topic for today, which is how you can manage your database backup and recovery. So hi Dilip, thank you for joining us today and welcome to our Tech Talk.
Thank you, Leo, and good morning, and thank you everyone for the opportunity.
Okay, so for this session, we have prepared some of the learning points objectives. So since we will be covering how you will manage database backup and recovery for database cloud services, so we'll kick off the session by doing an overview, introducing you what the database cloud services are, and then we'll jump into the main topic. So here we have prepared the common lifecycle management for performing database backup and recovery. So we have added here some of the new features that we have just released. So we will talk about the what and also the why and when to use that feature, and also to show you the how. Like we will be going through the different scenarios, showing how easy it's for you to adopt the new feature for the managing database backup and recovery. Okay, so to kick off our session, for database cloud services, so Oracle offers a range of database services in Oracle Cloud. So in general, we break them down by the performance and scale requirements for the system, and also where the systems will reside. So either you want to deploy it in the Oracle public cloud or customer data center. And who manages the infrastructure and database. So starting from the left, so the base database service, it's built on the standard compute and storage options. So it offers both Oracle Database Standard and Enterprise Edition. And it's typically used for workloads with uh, smaller processing and data storage requirements. And then we have the Exadata database service on dedicated infrastructure, which is in the public cloud, or at customer, which is the Exadata cloud at customer. So both are built on the Exadata platform, and as a result, offer the highest performance, scale, and availability along with all the database options and functionality of Oracle Database Enterprise Edition. So your Oracle, the Exadata database service on Cloud Customer offers the same cloud economics and cloud automation as Exadata database service on dedicated infrastructure in the public cloud, but it is deployed in customer data centers. And then at the rightmost is the autonomous database, which is a fully managed uh, database by Oracle. It's available in Oracle Public Cloud on shared or dedicated Exadata infrastructure, or in customers' data center on Exadata database service on Cloud Customer. And that's one of the greatest differentiators of Exadata. Like we give you the flexibility in terms of where you want to deploy. Like you can run it on premises where you own and manage the complete system and have a total flexibility as how you will manage it. Or you can also run in the cloud where Oracle manages the infrastructure and you have all the cloud automation tool to simplify your uh, management task. And you can also leverage on a pay for use subscription model that can dramatically reduce your cost. And Exadata is also available with with multi-cloud. Like you can run your Exadata database service in other multi-cloud or cloud partners. So you can use Oracle Exadata database service on Oracle database at Azure, on Oracle database at Google Cloud, and on Oracle database at AWS. And it's very simple to utilize the OCI Web Console to manage this Oracle database cloud services. So you can use the navigation menu in the upper left corner to navigate to the database service pages where you can create, manage, and view your cloud database resources. For example, the Exadata database service can be managed from the web console by first selecting Oracle database in the navigation menu, and then you can select either Exadata on Oracle Public Cloud, which is the Exadata database service on dedicated infrastructure, or Exadata database service on cloud at customer. And OCI provides you with a wide range of choice of management interfaces that you can use with database cloud services. So the easiest way is to use the UI, the OCI UI, allows you to use a browser to graphically configure and initiate your lifecycle operations. And this is great for one-time actions, but if you also prefer a more programmatic interface for things done repeatedly, such as provisioning or updating or upgrading resources. So anything that you can do with the browser, you can also do with a corresponding REST API, or we call it OCI APIs. And all interfaces are exposed via command line interface, which we call OCI CLI, that you can use for scripting, building custom tooling. And we also have a support for, there's also a software development kit or SDK available for you to integrate with common languages such as Java, Python, Ruby, and Go. And if you prefer to manage your infrastructure as code, then there's also Terraform and Ansible interfaces available. So cloud automation simplify most of the lifecycle and management tasks. Like for example, to cite some examples, so you can do adding of additional servers, scaling OCPUs up and down, creating databases, database homes, scheduling infrastructure maintenance, updating and upgrading. Let's say for Exadata database service, your VM operating system, grid infrastructure, and databases, enabling disaster recovery, and even, of course, our topic for today, performing backup and recovery operations. So, which leads me to our main topic for today. Let's talk about the database backup and recovery. So, let's start with the backup types. Okay. So, there are two types of backups available when using the cloud automation for your database cloud services. So they are the automatic backup and standalone backups. So automatic backups are taken if you select this option for your database. So for this backup type, Oracle automatically takes any required full and weekly backups. And then note that if you terminate your database, the automatic backups are automatically purged. And the standalone backups are backups that are initiated by the user that will persist after the database is terminated. Now let's talk about more on the cloud automation, like what it brings, what cloud automation brings us. So the Oracle Database Cloud Services provides automatic database backup facilities that use Oracle Recovery Manager or RMAN, and the provided cloud automation can be utilized from the UI console, or you can also call APIs. So you can create a database with automatic backups defined during the database create workflow or after the database creation, as you can edit backup settings once the database has been created. Then you can also view a list of all the available backups. So you can also view a list from the console, or you can even run an API to list down all the available backups, showing you different backup types. And you can also create an standalone backups, even if you're using your automatic backups. And then you can also create a database, of course, out of your created backup. But more importantly, you can easily use the cloud automation to restore your database as required. Then backup destinations. Okay, so in the public cloud, so again, in the public cloud for the base database service and Exadatabase service, so you have two choices for the backup destination. So you can choose from recovery service or from the object storage. So the recovery service is the default selection. So it offers you the same cost point as object storage, but has more features and provides restore performance advantages. Okay. So the recovery service, whose full name is Oracle Database Zero Data Loss Autonomous Recovery Service. So it's a fully managed data protection service for Oracle databases running on OCI, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud. So unique automated capabilities protect Oracle database changes in real time, also validate backups without production database overhead, and enable fast, predictable recovery to any point in time. It also allows OCI, or it also allows users to automate backups and enable immutability. So with the recovery service, the backups are stored outside the customer tenancy. So safeguards against deletion and tampering. And then private points are used for connectivity. So which establishes secure communication between the recovery service and the database. Then RMAN configurations for backups and restores are automated, ensuring the best practices are followed and that backups are always replicated to another availability domain in order to provide high availability. And with a zero data loss autonomous recovery service, so you can also enable real-time protection. So this option helps you to reduce data loss. And that the recovery service provides a simple automated RMAN restore, which eliminates manual RMAN scripting and DB backup scheduling. Then when you configure your backups, when you create your database, so you'll be seeing this backup retention period. So let's talk about more about backup retention periods. So backup retention periods are an important part of controlling your backup cost as well and ensuring that you can meet your recovery needs. And that the backup retention period varies, depends on what type of backup destination you have chosen. So for backups to object storage, so there's a default of 30 days and a maximum of 60 days for the retention period. For the recovery service, the assigned backup policy will determine the retention period with a maximum value of 95 days. Now, for the long-term retention backup with recovery service, the retention period should be for a minimum of 90 days and a maximum of 3,650 days or 10 years from when the backup was created. So regardless of the backup destination that you choose, backups of data in Oracle Cloud databases are encrypted by default. Now let's see on the different cloud automation available for you to use when managing your database backup and recovery. So let's start with configuring automatic backups. Okay. So automatic backups can be defined during or after database creation. So your options for backup destinations, retention period, and backup scheduling window will be the same as if you enable it during the database creation workflow. So to enable the automatic backups for an existing database, so from your database details page, so you just need to click on configure automatic backups tab. Okay. And then in the configure automatic backups dialog box, so you can select or deselect enabled automatic backups as applicable. So again, you can enable your automatic backups upon provisioning your database or even after creating your database. So once you select the box to enable the automatic backups and then you can select the desired backup destination. So for database cloud service in the public cloud, so we are offered the choice of using either object storage or the recovery service for the backup destination. So if you choose the recovery service for the backup destination, then you will next select the desired protection policy that will define the recovery window that the backup will provide. Then you can also select the checkbox for real-time data protection if you want to include redo log shipping to the recovery appliance to enable zero data loss backup service. Again, note that the real-time data protection option, when you enable it, it has an additional cost associated to it. Then you will then select what to do with the database backups once the database is terminated. So with the option being to follow the retention period or only keep them for 72 hours after database deletion. And then next is you will select a time for your daily incremental backups. Now, if you choose the object storage for your backup destination, then you will next select the desired backup retention period, which ranges from 7 to 60 days with a 30-day default. Then you will then select what to do with the database backup once the database is terminated. So with the option being to follow the retention period or only keep them for 72 hours after the database deletion. And then next, we'll select the day and time for the weekly full backups, followed by a time for the daily incremental backups. So note that just like the recovery service for the previous screen, you can also choose to immediately take the initial full backup or wait till the defined full backup date and the time comes around. So that's the tick box there, which is we can enable to take the first backup immediately upon creating your database. And during the database creation process, so you'll be presented with the same choices for enabling automatic backups for the different database cloud services. Like for the case of BaseDB, so you have this section for you to configure database backups. Same as with the Exadata database service on dedicated, which is the Exadata DBD, which shows you how to configure database backups, and then you can also choose the backup destination. So for Exadata database service on dedicated, it's in the public cloud, so you can choose either autonomous recovery service or object storage. And then for the Exadata database service at cloud customer, for the backup destination type, so you can choose either to use object storage, network file system, or recovery appliance. Now, you've seen this option when you create or configure your database backup, the backup retention period. So here we're gonna share with you like this is somehow a new feature that we had just have released. So you can also configure long-term retention backups. So I'll be calling out delete. So you can tell us more about this long-term retention backup. Like if you go to the console, now you'll see an option for you to specify a long-term backup retention period. Yep. So delete. So what this LTR brings us.
Um, so as the name suggests, so this is the ability for customers to take a backup and return it for a longer period of time, say up to 10 years. So as you know, with object storage, you could always take a standalone backup and keep it for a really long time, even though you would not have been able to specify how long you can keep it, right? But it's a really long time. But with recovery service, we introduced this capability in the last say few weeks, wherein customers can say, I want to take a long-term backup and then keep it for anywhere between say 90 days to 10 years, right? So those backups will exist even if the database gets terminated, those backups will still be there because these are supposed to be retained for longer duration of time. Now, as part of the first release, what we have done, this customers can click on the create backup button, the option, and then or of course through the API as well, and then you can take a long-term backup, but that's more of a ad hoc backup, right? So you have to initiate it. Phase two of this project, which is on the roadmap, we will kind of allow the ability to create a long-term backup using a retention policy. So just like you can use a retention policy now to create, say, automatic backups with recovery service, we will introduce policy-based LTR in a subsequent phase. At which time you will be able to specify schedules, right? So just like you can specify schedules now for say automatic backups, you will then be able to specify multiple cadences or schedules for long-term backups also. So that feature is coming. But right now, what you can do is you can take a long-term backup. You can take at any point in time. So you have to initiate it as a customer, and then you specify how long you want it to be retained, and those backups will be retained for the duration of time.
And then this long-term retention backup delete, this is available for both base database service and Exadata database service.
That is correct. So this is because recovery service in itself on the cloud is supported on XADBT as well as base DB, and so this option is available on both services. And of course, when these, for all intensive purposes, you can look at these backups just like any other backup. I mean, you will be able to restore these backups. You'll be able to create new databases using these backups and so on, right? So, yeah, so that's yeah, it's available on both of those services at this
Yeah, this is good because like if you're thinking of when to use, like especially for customers that would like to comply or satisfy compliance and legal requirements, like they can easily store specific backups long term to meet their regulatory or other business needs.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is primarily for like say compliance, regulatory, legal needs that customers need, right? Sometimes they want this data retained for say 7 years or so. They have SOX compliance and all that. So that is a primary use case for these long-term backups.
Okay. And then since you mentioned that it will just be treated as a like a standalone backup, so meaning they can also change or edit the retention period of that long-term retention backup that they have created.
Correct. For now, you can because, like I said, this is not yet policy driven. So you will be able to go change the retention period. But then once we introduce policy driven long term backups, then it's all driven by a policy, right? So then you will have to kind of it'll be routed to the policy in terms of like how long you want to keep it. You, as you also know, you have the concept of retention lock when you introduce policy based backups. At which time there'll also be some restrictions in terms of not being able to kind of reduce the retention period and so on and so forth. But for now, with this release, you will be able to go and change the retention period.
Okay. Yep. Good. Good insight on that one. Then next is of course in the console you can list the available backups. So using the OCI console, it's easy for you to display the standalone backups and automatic backups and even long-term retention backups that you have created. So that's for the list. And then you can also create standalone database backups. So some are calling it standalone, some are calling it full backups or on-demand backups. So they're all the same. So creating a standalone backup from the UI console, so it's very simple. So from your database details page, you just need to go under the resources, uh, select the backup section, and then click on create backup. Okay, and then it will launch the create backup dialog box. So you just need to provide the name for the backup and then click on create backup button to proceed. And these backups will show up in the UI console. So other than the automatic backups taken. So once the backup is available, and then let's say once the backup job completes, then the state of database goes back to available, and then the state of the backup will show as active. And then you can use that backup to create a another database out of that standalone backup. Which and then next is you can also create a of course create a database from your backup. So once you have created your standalone backups, or let's say you have enabled automatic backup, so you can create database out of that automatic or standalone or even your long-term retention backup. So From the backups page, you just need to select the backup, and then if you click on the actions icon, the three dots action icon, you just need to click on create database. So you can do it from there or from the database details page. Under the more actions, you can just click on create database from last backup. And here we're going to show you like once you've clicked that create database from backup, it will ask you to choose the to add the PDBs, whether you want to include all the PDBs or just choose a specific PDB to create a database or to store a database from. And then here you can see, so this is again one of the new features that we have added. Like you can create a backup uh or create a database from a backup cross region. Like you can restore a backup to create a database in a region different from where the backup was taken. So in the create database page, so here you can see you can even choose a different 80, a different region where your backup was taken, and it will show you like where the source database is running. Like for this example, my source database is running in Ashburn, but I'm going to create a database out of a backup from that database to a different region, which is in Frankfurt. And it also shows me where's the source database availability domain. So with this restore a backup to create database cross region. So it provides the ability for the users to create a database to a region different from where the backup was taken. Okay. And that you can also create a new database using a long-term backup. So again, you can create automatic backups, you can create standalone backups, you can also create long-term retention backup. Then you can also create, and then from that long-term creation backup that you have created, you can also create a database out of that long-term retention backup. Okay. So you just need to select that long-term retention backup, and then same thing when you click on the actions icon tab, click on create database, and then the same you will see the same flow. You need to choose the PDB and then provide the required details for your database, and then you can create the database out of that long-term retention backup. Then you can also do backup and restore from a standby database. So if you have created a data guard association, or if you're already using the data guard group model, so if you navigate to your standby database, so in the database details page of your standby database, so you can see here that you can already enable automatic backups from this out of this banner, or you can create, or you can just click on the configure automatic backups uh from the banner below. Okay, so when you click on configure automatic backup, so it prompts you with the same required details as how you configure your backup. So you just need to choose your so you can enable automatic backups. You can choose then. So once you enable automatic backups, it asks you for the backup destination. So when you choose autonomous recovery service, like for this example, so you just need to choose the protection policy, and then you can also have an option to take the first backup immediately. So once you have created your backup out of your standby database, so if you navigate to the standby database details page, so you'll see here that the backup has been configured, showing you the backup destination, which is the autonomous recovery service, and showing you the protection policy that it's using. So that's how you create a backup out of your standby database. And now you can also create a database out of that backup that you have created from your standby database. So again, when you navigate to your standby database under the database details page, you just need to select on the backup section under the resources, and then choose that backup that you have created out of your standby, and then click create database. Then, of course, you able to create backups, then you can also restore. So you have the ability to restore database. So when you need to restore a database cloud service instance from a backup, so a cloud automation makes this task very easy. So you just need to go to the database details page. You click on restore, and then in the restore database dialog box that is displayed, so you can select one of the following options. So you can restore to the latest, which restores the database to the last known good state with the least possible amount of data lost. Or we can select restore to the timestamp, which restores the database to the timestamp specified, or we can select also restore to system change number or SCN, which restores the database using the SCN specified. So once you have selected your restore point, then you can just simply click on restore database button to proceed. So that's how easy you do your store database options. So now we have seen how you do it using cloud automation from the console. So as we discussed, like there are other management interfaces. So I'm going to show you like quick samples, like how you will do it using OCI CLI. So again, OCI provides a wide choice of management interface. So whatever we did in the console, so you can also do it in REST API or OCI CLI, or you can even develop your own SDK to call in those methods, or even have your infrastructure as code written in Terraform or Ansible. But for this example, we were talking more about using the OCI CLI. So when to use? So again, OCI CLIs, it extends the OCI console's functionality, so enabling you to automate tasks through scripting and and so you can script your your different CLI commands. So how to use? So how to use with database cloud services? So you can install OCI CLI from your preferred standalone client, or you can download the ready Oracle Linux Cloud Developer image from our marketplace. So that image comes with a pre-built CLI installed in that image. Or simply, you can use our OCI Cloud Shell, which is a browser-based terminal from the Oracle Cloud console. And that OCI CLI supports different operations, lifecycle management operations for your database cloud services, like managing database deployment and database lifecycle, and also to perform database backup and recovery. So for OCI CLI, so if you go to documentation, so you just need to search for the DB section. So everything under the DB section, so those are the commands for database cloud services. Or you can just simply scan the this QR code, and then it brings you to the OCI CLI DB commands. So now let's see how to use OCI CLI. So if you want to enable automatic backups, so in OCI CLI, the syntax is very straightforward. So the syntax is just OCI DB is the service, which is the database cloud services. Database is the type or the resource type in which we are enabling our automatic backups. And then the action is update. So from the syntax, it's just OCI DB database update. And then the database ID is your CDB OSID. And then you just need to provide the flag of the auto backup enabled set to true. So after you've done those in the parameters, so once you run the command, it will show you this sample output. So you'll see here that the auto backup enable is set to true, meaning you have already enabled the automatic backups, and then the type or the destination type is set to object store or the object storage. Then you can also create a standalone backup. So the syntax is OCI DB backup create. So simple as that. So you can create a standalone backup. So you just need to provide the database ID, which is your database, your CDB OSID, where you want to create your backup, your standalone backup, and then you provide the display name. So that parameter display name, so that's you just need to replace it with the name for your standalone backup. So once you fired up that command, you'll see the sample output. You check on the lifecycle state. It will show you creating. And then for the backup type, it shows you the backup type of full, or full is equivalent to standalone, or if you want to call it on-demand backup. So those are all the same. And we've shown you how you list it from the console. Then you can also list it calling out APIs and CLIs. So we have a command for OCI DB backup list. So you can list down all the backups from a specified container database or a specified compartment. And then you can also make use of this query parameter options, which is used for structured query options to just display the specific backup data fields and values that you want to display. Like for this example, I've used the query command in conjunction with the OCI CLI command just for me to show the backup name, backup time, start and then the backup type, and then the database size, and then the database version. Okay, so that's how you list down the database backups. And now this is how you create database from backup using OCI CLI. So again, syntax very straightforward. It's OCI DB database create from backup. That's it. And then you just need to provide the required database details, database details such as your database name, nickname, the cluster ID. For this example, is the OSID of the VM cluster on your Exadata database service where you want to create your database. So that's how you create a database from backup, and this is how you restore. So for restore, it's just OCI DB database restore, and you just need to provide the OSID of your CDB, and that you have the parameter which you can set the whether if you want to create to restore a database from the latest, and then you just need to set it to true. So once you run this command, and then you'll see that the database is creating, showing you the lifecycle state of updating. So that's how easy you do it, either from the console API or OCI CLI. Okay. And yeah, so that's what we have for today. And now we are opening the session for any question and question and answer. Okay, so I've seen some questions from the chat that has also been answered by uh Dilip. Okay, so if not, then we will just show you where you can find more resources. So we have our Slack, a public Slack workspace. That's where we also upload some of the collaterals. Like we are also uploading the replay of this session. We're also uploading get started guides there, how-to tutorials, how-to videos, how-to GIFs, and then our Tech Talk series. We're also sharing there some of our technical featured blogs, like some of the new features that has been announced. So we're also posting it on our Slack channel. So again, we're inviting everyone. So join us. Join the discussion about anything about database cloud services on Slack. So here's the join link. So how would you join? So joining our workspace is an easy, quick three-step process. So you can just scan the QR code and then log in your email account for Slack, and then check your email for your and set up your 2FA, and that's it. So welcome to uh our workspace. And with that brings this session of our TED Talk with Leo and Dilip to an end. So again, until our next session. So stay safe and be prosperous. So again, my name is Leo and he is
Yep.
Dilip.
Great.
So bye for now. So thanks everyone.
Thank you everyone for joining.